true stories are scarier than fiction, because they actually happened. And no matter how far you scroll, how many videos you watch, you can't escape the fact that someone, somewhere, lived it. Tonight, we're diving into stories that are officially documented, or at least reported, by people who survived them. Homes abandoned in strange ways. People disappearing without a trace. Shadows that weren't supposed to move. 6 stories. 6 terrifying true experiences. Some are short, some are long, some are impossible. Listen closely. And remember, truth can be stranger and darker than anything your imagination could conjure. Story number 1. The Vanished Family. In rural Pennsylvania, a family of 4 lived in a modest farmhouse. Neighbors described them as normal, quiet, polite, nothing out of place. One morning, a postal worker noticed no one had collected mail in days. Concerned, she checked the house. The door was unlocked. Inside, the house looked lived in. Breakfast dishes were still on the table. Laundry half folded. The beds unmade, shoes scattered in the hallway. But the family was gone. No note, no sign of struggle. Phones and car keys were still inside. Even the dog was missing. Police searched for months. No sightings, no reports, no evidence. The only clue, a single journal page written by the mother that simply read, "We had to go, but we'll come back." Story number 2. The Night Attic. In 1987, a man renovating an old Victorian mansion in New Orleans discovered an attic nobody had entered in decades. Boxes of belongings. Clothes yellowed with age. Toys broken and dusty. And in the corner, a small trunk. Inside were letters, diaries, all detailing someone's descent into fear, paranoia, a belief that something was watching them from above. The man reported hearing scratching noises at night, footsteps when no one was home. And one evening, while inspecting the attic again, he saw a shadow move across the wall, but no one was there. Police found nothing. Friends laughed it off. But he sold the house soon after, claiming he couldn't sleep. He said, sometimes, when he closes his eyes, he still hears the scratching. Story number 3. The Disappearing Road. In a remote area of Alaska, there's a stretch of road that locals call the Vanishing Mile. Drivers have reported strange phenomena. The GPS stops working. Their car radio cuts out. And on foggy nights, lights appear ahead, but no vehicle is ever there. One couple drove that road in 2005. They noticed a figure walking along the shoulder, waving. When they stopped to help, the figure vanished into the fog. Their photos captured only a blur, but later, neighbors said a man had gone missing along that same road decades earlier. Even more unsettling, some drivers report seeing their own cars from years ago, parked at impossible angles, as if stuck in another time. Story number 4. The Photograph That Moved. In 1978, a young woman inherited a box of old photographs from her grandmother. Among them was a portrait of a man she didn't recognize. At first, it seemed normal, but soon she noticed something strange. In every new photo she took in her apartment, the man appeared, always in the background. Friends said it was impossible. The photos had no exposure anomalies, but she swore she saw him walking silently across rooms, always just behind her. Years later, she discovered the man had lived in that same apartment over 50 years prior and vanished mysteriously, leaving all his belongings behind. Story number 5. The Hospital Room That Refused to Empty. In 1992, a nurse working at a small hospital in Ohio reported a patient room that seemed alive. Whenever someone was admitted, strange events occurred. Lights flickered, equipment malfunctioned, voices whispered down empty hallways. Even when the room was empty, staff would hear coughing, bed springs creaking, or the faint sound of someone pacing. Security cameras recorded nothing. One night, a doctor stayed overnight. Around 3 a.m., he reported seeing a figure in the corner. It looked human, but didn't move naturally. It was staring. And when he blinked, it disappeared. The hospital still uses the room, but staff avoid it whenever possible. Story number 6. The Cabin in the Woods. In Vermont, a group of hikers stumbled upon an abandoned cabin deep in the forest. The cabin was perfectly furnished. A fire pit with ashes, food in the pantry, even clothing in the closet. But the door was unlocked and no one was home. That night they heard footsteps on the roof, knocking at the windows, doors creaking open and shut. Yet when they checked outside, nothing. They left by sunrise. Later, they discovered records of the cabin's original owner, a man who had disappeared in 1932, never to be seen again. 6 stories, 6 true experiences, some unsolved, some dismissed. But all of them leave the same mark. Reality can be far stranger than fiction. The world is full of gaps, of shadows, of whispers we're not meant to understand. And sometimes, those shadows follow us, waiting for the moment we least expect.